Well, it's been a few weeks, so of course the NBA has to schedule a Kings-Warriors game again.
Yeah, every few weeks. Otherwise, the world will not exist.
Third matchup of the season between the two games, and honestly, I don't think NBA script writers could have written this more perfectly.
Ooh, okay. It's very, very Hollywood. Go
Kings-Warriors, just on the surface. Big matchup after last year, right?
Sure.
Draymond Green returns from a 5-game suspension. It's in Sacramento, and the game's on TNT. Oh, that's huge. Oh, and it's an in-season tournament game if the Kings win that game. They beat the Warriors for the first time this season. They clinch Group C of the in-season tournament and advance to the quarterfinals, the knockout round.
Okay, that's if they win. If they win.
There's still pathways if they lose, but we're not going to bore you with the
God.
tiebreaker.
Okay.
But the reality is there's a lot on the line tomorrow.
Yes.
How are you feeling headed into this Kings-Warriors game?
Well, I've been feeling like it's going to be a big game. And that was just when I knew, like, oh, Kings-Warriors, last in-season tournament game. And then all of the little things started happening. Oh, my God, Draymond's going to be back after a 5-game suspension. And leading into that, Deuce, I think really everyone, that's going to be the storyline for a lot of people tomorrow. But I think one of the main things when you look at Draymond is what type of emotional or energy leader is he going to be for this squad? Is it going to be under control? I'm going to go with, like, if I had to guess, yes, because he's been away from the team and they do need his playmaking ability out there. They need his veteran, if you want, leadership, whatever the hell that this squad gets from him. They still do need that on the basketball side of things.
It's a lift, and the Warriors may not admit it, but I think they play up for Sacramento.
Yes.
And I think they take great enjoyment at coming into Sacramento and going at the Kings. I think they walk in feeling like, yeah, we're in this team's head.
Yeah.
We want nothing more to go there in Sacramento and potentially end any in-season tournament hopes for this team. Also, let's not lose sight of the fact that the Warriors need a win. They are 8-9 right now, so one game below 500. The Draymond return thing is a huge factor. I'm glad you brought it up because just emotionally, they're going to be amped up.
Yep.
They feel whole again, and both teams kind of feel whole again. Keegan Murray did return to practice today, full participant. We don't know if he's going to end up playing in that game tomorrow, but
Sure.
Trey Lyles is back. De'Aaron Fox did not play in that last matchup against the Warriors. This feels like both teams are going to be kind of healthy for this.
Yeah, and if you look at that matchup, that last matchup between the two teams when De'Aaron didn't play and it came down to that Clay jump shot, it looks like this is going to be a fun matchup. I think, like you said, everyone playing their best basketball out there. It seems like both teams like to do that, which is great for all of us basketball fans out there because it just means great basketball is going to be played on the floor. But I think if you're the Kings, if one thing isn't working, let's say that outside shot isn't working, make sure that you're running on this team. I know we say that against a lot of different teams in this league, but I especially think against an older team. Steve Kerr, it feels like going with that older lineup a lot when we're like, hey, put in those young legs. What are you doing? It seems like this is the type of team that you want to make sure you're running on, putting them back on their heels. And look, if you're not even getting all the way to the basket, can you continue that good shooting? Can you have those transition threes from Kevin Huerter, from Trey Lyles?
Push the pace. Both teams are rusted.
Push it.
Both teams have been off since Friday.
Ooh.
That's a long time. And I know the Kings just got off a long road trip, a 6-game road trip. They were 4-2 on that trip. What's crazy, too, the Kings have played 10 of their first 15 games on the road, but now they're opening a stretch, 10 of the next 11 at home. Kings have played much better on the home floor. The only loss they have is to the Golden State Warriors. Morgan, I mentioned this on the pod the other night. I believe the Kings are a better team than the Warriors.
You mentioned that on NBC postgame too.
I have a huge belief in that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you got to beat them head to head.
Get the W.
You may have a better record right now.
Yep.
You may be playing better basketball, but you have to beat them, and they have yet to do it this season. The pace to me is so important.
Yep.
Push on this team. Push, push, push. And last game, you know what I love against Minnesota? They had something work, and they went with it.
Yes.
Right? They brought up two bigs high for a pick-and-roll situation, the horn set, and they ran it 17 times.
Yeah.
When something's working, you go with it. I want to see more of that, too. I like Fox getting downhill, maybe creating for his teammates, looking for his own. There's so many options out of that. But the Kings offense in general against Minnesota, the #1 defensive rating in the NBA, look crisp. They look like they were making the extra pass. They were being patient, but playing decisive basketball. Like, I like how they played.
Yes, I like the quick decision making. And when you talk about just that set and that double screen up there at the top, I think about how that they did such a great job, bringing Gobert, trying to get Gobert out of the paint, trying to get the bigs out of the paint so they could make sure that they're not just attacking against their length. But I think for this Warriors team too, just putting De'Aaron Fox in a situation where he can go downhill, especially if it has to be in that half court offense or maybe even in an early offense, you got to keep up with that. And I think for someone like Domas Sabonis, we need to see him continue to be aggressive and be a threat on the offensive end. It's not just because of what happened in the postseason. Like, we've talked about that many of times. Like, why isn't he taking that jump shot and being that threat? You saw so many times even this season, okay, he struggled against Gobert before. He struggled against this big before. He started going at guys. He started going into their chest, being physical, being the one initiating the contact. He's got to continue that against the Warriors.
Attack in transition.
Yes.
I said that last game too. But when Sabonis can get the ball and push, not only is he a threat with the ball just because he can score, but he's such a good passer. He can find the shooters. They can really get things going offensively, and I think they can do that against this Warriors team who's still trying to figure out what the hell they are. I mean, they have been struggling without Draymond. Clay's starting to knock down his shot again.
Yeah.
It's just been up and down for them.
Yeah. Now, I guess since we've talked a lot about the Kings offense and what to look for and what we're hoping to see, Kings defense, obviously we don't know about Keegan Murray, but Trey Lyles is back in the lineup now, and I think that's going to help give them just another piece that is willing to sacrifice his body, is willing to be physical and give forth 100% effort at all times that he's on the floor. And I think that is what you need, is just so much activity from every single individual on the squad, especially when whoever's guarding Steph Curry is going to be the one chasing around having the hardest job. Not to say that everyone isn't going to come into play. But yeah, either way, they just need to make sure that they are locked in, engaged, and together like we've seen in some of these recent wins.
I'm curious if you feel like this game is going to have extra meaning to the players, because there is something technically on the line. If the Kings win, they win Group C. I feel like there has to be a little more fire tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's going to lead to like a bigger atmosphere, like a more intense atmosphere?
Yes. And I don't know if I like that or if I dislike that. I know you love it.
For a late November game with something on the line?
Well, that's what's great about it. But all it does for me, it's very anxiety filled. And that's what it does for me.
I'm so sick of the Warriors. I am beyond sick of watching Kings Warriors. I'm so sick of the Warriors. And for me personally, I need this win.
Oh, dude, you said that about the last 3 Kings wins.
In the grand scheme of things, does it really matter a late November win over the Warriors? Like, no, you're going to be focused on if you play them again in the playoffs. Like, what does that look like? That matters more. But, dude, I want to see them beat the Warriors at home. I want them to play better at home. They've lost to 3 teams this year: the Rockets, the Pelicans, and the Warriors.
It's for a different type of morale. That is like what we're
guess who they
for.
might have to play if they win this game and advance to the quarterfinals?
Who?
The Pelicans or Rockets. This is fun. It's an in-season tournament. What do you guys want to see in the Kings-Warriors matchup? What do you think goes down? What are some of your keys? Let us know in the comments below, and know we are live after every single Kings game. Hit that thumbs.
The thumbs?
Can we try that again?
Thumbs up.
Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast